right there. Did you hear that?
Yes.
Okay, we got the note. All right, good. Let me pray, and then we're going to jump into this and just spend some time together. Father, thank you so much that we're able to meet today this way from across the country and do a little bit of talking together and some more prep for this epic and life-changing adventure that's coming up. We see things that are happening in the news. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. And Father, we're asking, as you tell us to do in your word, to pray for the peace of not only Jerusalem, but Israel and Gaza and that whole Middle East section, Russia and Ukraine, everywhere. Just so many things going on. We understand and we know, and we're committed to the idea that you're the sovereign God, the God of peace, and even use us, God, in our travels to be a catalyst for peace wherever we are, wherever we're traveling, not just on this trip, but in life. And we ask that you'd guide us and guard us through our conversation today. Help us to be better equipped to travel well and to experience all you have for us. And I pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
All right. Well, this is most of the group. There are another 3 or 4 who are not, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We have 12 in our group, so we're missing 3 at this point. The Smiths and also Chris Mead. We had pretty close to 20. I think we had 19 or 20 scheduled, but as you know, we've had to reschedule a couple of times, and there are just a few that dropped and said they would rather travel to other places. They just want things to be able to settle down a little bit more, before they go to Israel, which is fine. We were going to have the president and owner of the tour company traveling with us, as well as our global marketing director. But because we rescheduled, it conflicted with their other travel schedules. So it'll be just us and 3 more, 12, I think, altogether in the group. So I've been leading tours to Israel and the Holy Land. The Holy Land is like, if you look on a modern map, I think it's like 16 different countries. So when we say the Holy Land, we mean also Turkey, Italy, Greece, Egypt, Jordan, and other places. So I've been leading these kind of tours for quite a while. I think this is trip number 25 for me to Israel.
Wow.
So I've been there quite a few times, and I'm getting ready to hang up the spurs, so to speak. And my wife's challenging me to go somewhere else that on this earth. Is I don't want to go too far with that statement. But there's other places. Yeah, I'm going to be careful here. Other places that she wants us to see. So this might be my last trip. We are going to maybe take our grandkids in a few years when they get a little bit older. But I know that some of you have been to Israel, some of you have not been, and I am just super excited that you get to travel with us. The thing I want to emphasize first and foremost is the highest priority, of course, is safety. And if it was not safe to travel to Israel, we wouldn't be going. The travel company wouldn't let us go. The airlines wouldn't let us go. The State Department wouldn't let us go. But it's safe to travel there. And we're going to have an awesome time together. So I hope that you have a copy of these. I sent you this document, How to Travel Internationally. It's kind of long, but I want it to be detailed. I want to have a lot of information in there for you. And we're not going to read through it, but we will refer to it. And what I want to do today is just to help us get to know each other a little bit. And I'll try to answer any questions I have, or you have, and then we will be that much closer to moving forward. So let's just do this. I'm just going to have you do a simple introduction. Tell us who you are, what ministry you're connected with, your hometown, where you live, and if you can remember all this. If you've been to Israel before, and if not, what are you looking forward to the most? If you have there's this one thing that I'm really anticipating more than anything else, what would that be? So we're going to go kind of clockwise on my screen. Yours might be a little bit different. So, Jacob, I'm going to start with you. You're the chosen one. Okay.
Great.
So, yeah, show us how this is done, man. Your ministry you're connected with, where are you living? If you've been before, if not, what are you looking forward to more than anything else?
All right. Jacob Heine. I am the senior administrative pastor at Faith Lutheran Church in Topeka, Kansas,
Okay.
though I am originally from Michigan, so I've traveled all over the states myself.
Yeah.
Never been to Israel, so this will be my first time, and I've been trying to go. I've been scheduled twice before that they have been postponed, so um,
Yep.
we're close this time.
Yep. Yep.
Boy, one thing that's hard.
It is
Uh,
hard.
that's hard.
What's
That's
even
hard.
harder is after the trip, people are going to ask you your favorite thing.
Yeah.
It's like all the above.
I was really hoping somebody else would go first so I'd have more time to think. Oh, it's a toss up. I recently taught on the book of Amos, so I'm really looking forward to seeing Dan. And it says
Oh,
Bill 5.
oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Different
Okay.
Dan. Yeah, because of Jeroboam's altar and temple he built there. And so to see something that I had taught pretty extensively on is really quite interesting to me. So
You'll see fig trees too.
yeah,
Amos is
awesome.
a fig picker. Yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, what we will typically I really try to have a lot of fun on these trips. For you, Jacob, when we get there, we'll line up the men. We'll all pick a fig leaf off the tree and hold it at our belt buckles, and have somebody take a photo of the guys. So, there's a sign there at Dan that it points the way on this trail, and it says Ancient Dan. And so my groups like to get pictures of me standing next to that sign. So good, you're gonna love it. Great.
It
Great.
gets more and more real every trip, huh, Dan?
It does, man. Yeah, it does. We're going to talk a little bit about Hezekiah's tunnel. Every time I go through that tunnel, it gets a little more narrow. It's amazing. I don't know how that happens, but it happens. So, okay, Mark and Rachel, let's hear from you.
Well, we live in Vernonia, Oregon. Despite some folks' best efforts, I am still the pastor. There was a
You're still a pastor?
They voted me out, but then they figured out that they had done it wrongly, and so the vote got thrown out, and then they confirmed me, and then the folks that voted me out left. So,
Well, double-minded, unstable in all their ways. Wow.
yeah,
Yeah,
uh,
it was wild.
it was wild. It's been a wild month. Um, Rachel hasn't gone to Israel. I went in 2016, and boy, Ein Gev and the Sea of Galilee and the Dead Sea were amazing. I wanted to go into the Mediterranean, but it was a Black Flag Day. We couldn't swim or anything, but I've been itching to get Rachel over there since 2016. So this is a
Very
long
good.
time coming. She will probably not be going into Hezekiah's tunnel. I will. It's fantastic. Not narrow at all. I mean, tons of room.
Not for you.
No, no. Yeah, looking forward to the tunnel. I'm gonna pass on that. I'm excited for the Garden of Gethsemane. I'm just now looking at the new schedule. I've always wanted to see the Temple Mount, and I know that's pretty typical, and the Mount of Olives. Remember, my grandparents went several times, and their first trip was in the early 90s. And I remember they brought back pictures, and I'm from Oregon, and I'm thinking Mount Hood Mountain. And they showed me that little bump of a hill is what I thought, Mount of Olives, and I was like, that is not what I was picturing as like a little kid.
Yeah, it's more like a speed bump.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
yeah. So that's pretty classic. Want to
Wow.
see, but I'm excited about Sea of Galilee too.
Oh, good. You're gonna have a great time.
Yeah.
Good. Matt and Corrine, where are you from? The ministry you're located, you're connected to, and all that.
Yeah, so
Thanks, Mark and Rachel.
Matt and Corrine Kroll. I'm an elder at the Ridge Bible Church
In Graham.
in Graham. I've actually just finished up a Master of Divinity at Faith International University here in Tacoma. Corrine is going to be finishing up her Bachelor of Arts in the next few weeks in Christian Studies. we've been to Israel. I've been on 3 other occasions, 2 of those with Dan. Corrine will be on her 5th trip to Israel, and she's also been 2 times with Dan. So this will be our 3rd trip with you. So we're excited about that. For myself, I actually have 2 things that I'm excited about on this trip. One is to finally get to go through Hezekiah's tunnel. I've never done that, so I'm looking forward to that. The other is that Tim Smith, Tim and Laura Smith, Tim is our senior pastor at the Ridge Bible Church in Graham, and this will be their first trip to Israel. I am really excited about experiencing that together with them and having them part of this journey. So really, really looking forward to that.
Very good. Green, how about you?
I think Matt didn't say what he's really looking forward to is the food. Right, Dan?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And Dan owes me affogato.
Only Matt.
In Ben Yehuda Street, which is coffee and ice cream. If you like that, it's to die for. But no, it's I'm excited to be going back. I had not planned to go, but it just kind of worked out for us to all go together. And so I'm just going with not a lot of expectations or anything. I mean, I have a lot of expectations, but nothing special. I'm just wanting God to bless me. And like Matt says, I'm finishing school in 3 weeks and then we leave 10 days later. So I need a vacation.
Perfect. I love it. That's great. Good. All right. So, Matt, I've traveled with Matt and Corrine before, and we'll talk a little bit more about actually traveling and how we get that done. I will not be with you when you're flying into Amman, Jordan. I will not be with you until the next day. But Matt's going to be your point man. He's going to be the team leader, so he's going to take care of everything. We met yesterday and talked a little bit about that. So this is the guy that will be kind of guiding you along the way. Okay, John, let's hear from you.
Okay. I'm local by Dan. I'm pastor of a church called Cornerstone Community. It's just right in Kent, Washington. And Dan invited me into his cool pastors club about 19 years ago.
Been a while.
Yeah, something like that. It's been a while. We have lunch every month. So, he kept trying to talk me into coming, and it wasn't too hard to talk me into coming.
Food involved. Yeah.
Pardon?
There's food involved.
Yeah. Yeah. As far as what I'm looking forward to, I think it's just how will it hit me to be on the streets? I mean, not the literal streets, but the locations where our Lord walked, where he ministered. I mean, obviously his ministry is globally reaching. So we know that we have a spirit in us, but to be there, I think is going to be powerful. Be there with all of you.
Go ahead, John. I'm sorry.
Oh, no worries.
Okay.
And hopefully this won't get me thrown out of the cool kids club, but I have an appointment after we go to the Garden Tomb at a tattoo shop down in Old Jerusalem that's been tattooing pilgrims for about 700 years. They started in Egypt and then came to Israel 500 years ago. Called Razuk Tattoo. Look it up. Anyway, they do a lot of they're Coptic Christians, which is I guess I don't know if it's Catholic Light or what that is exactly, but they have a lot of old carved tattoo symbols. Some go back 500 years.
Yeah.
So if I don't chicken out, we'll see.
Mark's going to be there to support you. I'm watching on verbals. Trained observer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah, it's going to be great. It's going to be a lot of fun. Good. Ben, let's hear from you.
Yeah, so I'm Ben Michael. I'm one of the pastors at Trinity Lutheran Church in St. Joseph, Michigan. It's about as far southwest in Michigan as you can get. Been here about 6 months now. I did serve at a church in Topeka, Kansas, so I know Jacob really well.
All right.
Never been to Israel. Looking forward just really to the whole trip. I mean, if I had to pick one thing, I think I'd probably echo what John said. Just being able to walk in the footsteps of Jesus. I mean, I think that's just such an amazing opportunity to be able to do, and I'm really, really fired up for it.
Yeah. Good. And I'm going to just cue you into this right now. Listen carefully to our guide when he's speaking, and he will talk about places that commemorate biblical events. And when something is like a church that commemorates an event, we're pretty sure that the event did not happen at this location. But it's to remind us that this event occurred. But then there are some places we'll go to that actually locate. I mean, this is actually where the event took place. You're standing on the spot. And there will be, not sure, if we go to a place called Bethsaida, I don't think it's on the itinerary, but it's very close to Capernaum. We'll go into a synagogue and you can for sure stand on the very stones that Jesus was standing on when he was teaching in the synagogue there. It's still in place. It's pretty crazy. So you'll certainly see things that Jesus saw. You'll walk where he walked. And we'll go down to street level from the first century and see the Roman stones and all that were there in the time of Christ. And you'll see a lot of antiquities, and it's going to be just amazing to to be standing in location and read from the scriptures and see what you're reading. It's and smell what you're reading and hear what you're reading. It's a great experience. I'd say it's like watching a ball game at home on TV or sitting in in one of the boxes there along the lines there. And it's a whole different experience being in the stands or in the seats there watching a ball game as compared to watching it at home. So it's going to be great. Okay, George, how about you?
Yes, hi, George Kuzachev here. I'm a pastor at the Slavic Baptist Church in Hollywood, California. We are, if you can imagine where the Hollywood sign is on a hill above LA, we were literally down at the bottom of that hill along Santa Monica Boulevard, which leads all the way out to the ocean where the fires were here just a few weeks ago. We minister in an area that's within 10-mile radius of where we are. There's 200,000+ Russian speaking people. We're an ethnic church. Our services are in Russian. It's a transitional spot where people come and go. So we've got very few old timers, but that's where the Lord has put us. As far as this trip, it'll be my first trip to Israel.
Good.
Wanted to go my whole life, and this is a real opportunity, obviously, for me.
Yeah.
Everything is going to be wonderful, but I've been doing a series on end times lately, and I've been intrigued by Mount of Olives, where the feet of Jesus stood. And when we're there, the thought has been in my mind here for the last 6 months is, what if the rapture happened when we're there?
Yeah.
It would be like, we'll be the welcoming party.
Wow.
Yeah. No, I'm excited to travel with
Good.
everybody.
Yeah,
and,
we'll go down into the Valley of Armageddon. You'll see that. We'll go through it. And so
All
that's
right.
very much related to end times and so forth. Good. So George, where you got family that came over from Russia?
My parents are both actually born in Russia, but during World War II ended up in Germany and some of the work camps there, and came to America right after the war. So
Okay.
here I am.
I have Ukrainian roots. So
Yeah. Okay.
I'm looking forward to
Yeah.
some stories and learning from you about that.
Yeah. We're a little
Good.
bit down now, but at one point we had people of 13 different Eastern European background at our church. Right now we've probably got like half a dozen different, Russian, Ukrainian. We got some people from the Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, kind of those Southern Republic areas there too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the tourism is going to be like when we're there because it's just starting to pick up again, but it's not uncommon to see groups from all over the world. Our guide, Ralph Lewinson, speaks multiple languages. I was with him one time in the old city, and in a matter of 2 minutes, heard him speak 5 different languages.
Wow.
And I asked Ralph, I said, I understand that if you truly know a language, you can think in that language. And I asked him, in what language do you think? And he said, it depends on what I'm thinking about. So he learned German while working on a farm. So when he thinks about food and agriculture, he thinks in German. and his worship language is in Hebrew, is Hebrew. So when he thinks about spiritual things, he thinks in Hebrew. And so he learned languages in different ways, and whatever he thinks about it in a language, that's related to where he learned it, which is fascinating.
Yeah, that's
So,
amazing.
yeah, good, good, good. Okay, so I'm just going to open it up, and I just want to see if you need clarification on the document that I sent to you, or if you have any questions in general. I don't have any kind of an agenda here today. This is for you. This is to answer questions that you have. No such thing as a dumb question. If I think it's a dumb question, I'll give you a dumb answer. How's that? Is that fair enough?
Is that a challenge, Dan?
No, that's a promise, John. That's a promise. Yeah.
Mm.
So let's just open it up. What questions do you have? And we want to make sure that you're cruising, you're up to speed and ready to roll here. So
I have a question.
yeah, bring George. Go ahead.
Lead off in getting our visas to get into
Yes.
Israel. I don't know if you've already done one of those or not, but after you fill it out and pay the dues, there you can print out the document. Is that the actual document we bring, or are we have
It's
something else?
Great question. Great question. It's always good to bring a printed copy of everything. Make 2 photocopies of your passport as well. And you're gonna have you give a copy to Matt, or you can just hang on and give it to me when I see you the next day. But to get back to your question specifically, George, print it, bring it with you. It's already recorded electronically, and you're in the system.
Okay.
And so when you cross the border into Israel at the Allenby Bridge at the Jordan River, they'll scan that passport and they'll know that you're in the system. So you'll be good to go.
All right. Thank you.
So related to this, let me just talk about a little bit about the travel itinerary. You've got your travel itineraries, your printed electronic itinerary. That is not your ticket. You have to check in at the airport to check your luggage and to get your passport checked. And then you can either get online now and look at where you're seated in the airplane, or if you want to try to move your seat at the check-in counter, you can do that as well. I think that your first flight, well, some of your flights you can move your seat around at no charge, and for some other flights they're going to charge you a fee to move your seats around, unless you're at the airport to do that. Then there might not be a cost for the day that you're checking in. So you're all coming in from different areas. Mark and Rachel, you're flying out of Seattle, is that correct? You need a place to crash before that? Or are you gonna, what are your plans? Because you got to be at the airport super early in the morning.
I think the plan in my mind was just to, drive late at night and then land at the airport and just hang out at the airport. But
It would be the first time we slept on the airport floor. We're pretty hardy still. I'm getting old and my back doesn't like it as much, but this might be the last time, but we're gonna do
is
it.
there an option for a bed?
Let me talk to my wife. Let me talk to Joanne. Yeah,
That would be awesome.
I am quite sure that she'd be willing to do that.
Awesome.
Have you guys stay at our place? You can park your car at our place, and she'd take you to the airport early in the morning. Or Matt and Kareen and the Smiths are local. John is local. We can rendezvous somewhere and just drop you off with another vehicle full of people and get you all to the airport at the same time. We want to make it easy for you. Yeah, we got a room downstairs, and that'd be fine. So let me talk to Joanne and I'll get back to you.
Great.
Okay.
Yeah. Matt and Kareen, what are your plans to get to the airport? Have you talked about that?
We have talked about it, but we were just mentioning that we have not nailed down anything definitive yet. Obviously, we're expecting Tim and Laura and us, the two of us, will travel together. We're not sure yet. The vehicle that we're going to use will probably have one of the people from our church probably take us to the airport and pick us up. But we haven't come up with any definitive plan yet.
Okay. All right. John, how about you?
I don't have a plan yet for getting to the airport.
Okay.
Haven't
I'll
made one.
talk with Joanne. She would probably be willing. I'm quite sure she would be. You know, we can just throw a car top carrier on top of my vehicle and I can carry 7 inside of it. So I think it's always good to try to carpool. It makes it a whole lot easier. And then just get you all unloaded at the same time at the same place. So anyway,
Yeah.
everybody you're all flying out from different places across the country. George, probably LAX for you.
No, I'm flying from Ontario. I'm gonna
Ontario.
I've got a flight to Seattle from Ontario and then back home again when we come back. So I'm set.
Okay.
And I'm gonna fly in on a real late Sunday night flight. I think I get there in about 11 o'clock or so. So I'm gonna basically hang around the airport.
Oh, man.
Okay. All right.
Well, we gotta be there by like 5 a.m. I think.
Yeah, yeah.
So, I'll be there for 4 hours. So
Does your flight, what time does your flight leave? Is it 7? You need to be there at 4.
I'm flying from Ontario.
Okay, but you need to check in at the counter in
I will check in at the counter at United, I guess, in Seattle.
Yeah, at 4.
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Is that we really that early, huh? Wow.
yeah, 3 hours. They want you there 3
Our
hours.
our, our flight is 7.
I think it is.
I have it right here.
Yeah.
Yeah. We fly from Seattle. We lift off at 7
Yep.
a.m.
Yeah.
So,
Too late to back out, John. John
Nothing
doesn't
like getting used to the time changes
get
early.
used to it, man. Get used to it. So you've got people traveling from all over the U.S. You're all going to be in Chicago. That's where you're going to rendezvous. And then you'll all meet there. So I'm going to ask you, when you get to Chicago, put on your name tag when you get to the gate in Chicago. I would also suggest when you're checking in Seattle, wear your name tag so the whole group. Matt's got if you don't have the names, Matt, I'll send you the names. And you'll check in as a group. It's in the information that I gave you.
Yeah, I think I think we have the names, but if you could send them again just so we can verify.
Okay. All right. Yeah. And then you'll be flying Chicago to Vienna, Vienna to Amman, spend the night in Amman, and then early in the morning, they'll get you to it's called the Allenby Bridge. It's one of the border entry points for Israel and Jordan, and you'll cross the Jordan River. And so they'll get you there. That's it. You have a scheduled time at 8 o'clock in the morning. So you're going to be up early on that first day. And then you'll drive up. You'll drive right past Jerusalem. You'll see the Golden Dome and all that. Then you'll drop down, go to the coast, and you'll pick me up at Netanya on the Mediterranean. And then we're going to head north and go to Caesarea on the coast. And then we're going to start the touring at that point. So any more questions about the day of travel, leaving home, getting to the airport, getting into Amman, getting to Netanya, and beginning? Matt?
Yes, just one reminder, maybe, I think you had planned on touching on it, but just a reminder maybe about people with medical medicines and stuff to make sure it's in their carry-on and not packed in their luggage.
Yeah, never pack medicines or medical equipment in your suitcase. Always carry it with you on board. We had a girl on one of our trips recently who's diabetic, and she packed it all in her suitcase, and the suitcase didn't make it. Fortunately, our guide, same guide that we have this time, is diabetic, and he shared his insulin with the girl in our group. She ended up getting COVID on the trip, and she missed most of the trip. So she was batting 1,000 on that one. It was just like amazing. Yeah. And also, it appears that the airlines have changed their guidelines. I would suggest you go to the website and take a look. But it appears you can only bring one item on board with you into the airplane. It used to be 2, a personal item and a carry-on, but it appears you can only bring one. So I would suggest go to the airlines and double check and see what they're doing for international travel, not domestic, but international travel.
My question for that, Dan, though, I mean, if you have room under the seat in front of you, wouldn't that be that piece and then something else goes in the overhead bin?
Why don't you try that and see how that works for you, John?
My question is, it doesn't make sense.
I agree with you. But you see, if you fly often or just semi-regularly, they are often asking for people to not check luggage or not to
Right, yeah.
check it instead because they always run out of room.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think they're trying to clamp down, especially on international travel, and sometimes they will weigh the bags and charge you a fee if it's overweight. So you got to be careful. I would say double check and just go by at this point, the letter of the law and not the spirit of the law. The spirit of the law would be under the seat and in the overhead compartment. But if they're saying one, bring one.
Yeah, I asked about that on my last flight, and the stewardess said it was because people are getting pretty savvy and packing everything in the overhead and carrying it, and they said it's giving them problems with weight distribution on the plane. Everything's on the top, and they need more weight in the bottom. And they said it had to do with how the plane flew and weight distribution.
Wow. Okay. All right.
Dan,
Now
can
we know
I
the real
jump-
reason.
You can
Hey,
fact
Dan?
check it, but that's what she said.
I have no reason to not believe you.
Hey,
Dan.
Dan.
Let's go, Matt, and then we'll go, George.
Yeah, I just looked. So I just did a Google search, and AI overview says that Austrian Airlines allows one carry-on bag and one personal item per passenger.
Okay.
So
What does United say?
um,
Because
yeah,
that's your first aircraft out of Seattle.
United.
Yeah, and you can check that on your own.
Period.
Yeah. So Jacob, you're seeing that as well? Okay.
I think for me, I don't even think I'd have something going, but I'm thinking, if you start buying stuff to bring home, that's
Yeah.
kind of that extra piece.
Yeah, so United says you can bring one carry-on bag and one personal item on most domestic and international flights.
Most.
Most.
Yeah.
I know, yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Well,
Dan?
take a look at your particular itinerary on the website and see what you can
Yeah.
find out there. George?
Yeah, just real quick comment on choice of seats.
Yes.
I fly enough to where I know that you can log on, and I was able to change my seats to where it was that I was assigned. There's like a $20 fee per segment of trip. So for like an extra $100, you can sit wherever you want to sit.
Nice.
And you don't have to wait till you get inside the airport and go through the lines at the counter or
Okay.
whatnot. And then the second thing real quick is you mentioned the name tags. Got my
Yes.
packet about a week ago from the company, and the what they sent is
Lanyard?
really colorful. It's like a bright yellow and orange. So if we wear our name tags, we should be able to find each other really easily.
Matt's he gets about 2 out of 3 times he gets that right. So
Oh, okay.
should be easy to find. Matt meets a lot of people at the airport sometimes. A lot of new friends. Good, George. Thanks. What else?
Yeah, you're gonna owe me chocolate after that comment.
I might. Yeah. Other questions?
I want to know what kind of chocolate everybody likes. I know what to bring. Not planning on being late. I just want to eat chocolate.
Oh, wait and buy it over there. It's much better.
Oh, okay.
They have very good chocolate.
Get some chocolate in Vienna.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure you can spend $25 for a bar there in the airport.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, true. So she's going to be really late. Really good chocolate.
There you go.
Good. What else? Other kind of questions? Okay, bring an umbrella. Hezekiah's Tunnel. If you're not familiar with Hezekiah's Tunnel, go to YouTube, check it out. It's an amazing experience. It's on the itinerary, and that's the plan. That's plan A, is to do Hezekiah's Tunnel. You're going to be walking through water, and it's going to be dark. This tunnel is 1,700 feet long, carved into bedrock. And you get into it just a few feet and then it's lights out. There's no illumination in there. So what I prefer to bring is a headlamp, so your hands are free, or you can bring a flashlight if you'd like to. Bring shoes or water shoes or something that are going to stay on your feet because the water's moving. This water's still, after thousands of years, gushing out of the Gihon Spring. And it's cold. But if you wear like flip-flops or sandals or something like that, they may fall off and float away from you. So I've seen it happen. So you want to wear something that's going to be tied or strapped to your feet. Tennis shoes, water sandals, or something to that effect. And some people want to bring the pants that zip off the legs so that you're left with shorts. Sometimes you can just pull up the pant legs so that you go up above your knees. I don't know how high the water is going to be. It varies. So, and people, short people, tall people, my knees will be at the chest of some others. I'm 6'4", so I'm a tall guy. So just be ready. Bring a small towel. Don't bring a hotel towel, but bring a small towel with you, so you can dry off if you want to, so you're not, really too cold. But that Hezekiah's tunnel is a great experience. The other option is the dry Canaanite tunnel. So if you don't want to get wet, you can walk through the Canaanite tunnel. There's a little bit more room. It's illuminated. You can see there's light and you can walk through that. That's typically what the guide will do, because he doesn't want to get wet. He does this, hundreds and hundreds of times. So be sure to bring all of that. Let me also mention this about the itinerary. The printed itinerary it's the plan. It's not a promise. So things happen, things change. Sometimes we need to be dynamic, and everything that's listed on the itinerary, we might not be able to get to it. And there are some things that are not on the itinerary that we might end up doing instead. For example, on the tour brochure, I think it's on the first actual day of touring, they list Nazareth Village. We will not be going to Nazareth Village because of the flight changes. Getting the group to fly into Amman means that the tour day begins in a different country than we had originally planned. And by the time you get over to Netanya to pick me up, our first stop will probably be lunch before we get to Caesarea. So that puts us 3 or 4 hours behind schedule that we would typically have on a tour day. So I was talking with Rick and David, who handle our itinerary for us, and they made the choice to take out Nazareth Village. So realizing that what is printed is not necessarily what we're going to be doing. Also, on the itinerary, it says that we're going to be leaving Israel late on the final night, whatever day that was. I don't have an itinerary here with me, but that has changed. We were leaving actually very early in the morning on the 10th day. Is that April 2, I think? So we're not going to be at the airport in the evening of April 1. We're going to get up super early, going to be at the airport 3 hours before liftoff, which means we're leaving from Jerusalem, which is an hour away. And so we'll drive an hour, going to be at the airport 3 hours early, which is going to be a super early wake up call. So that means that the translation is that the farewell dinner will be in Jerusalem, and we'll have a little bit extra time in Jerusalem. I'm going to ask if we can go to the Israel Museum and go in the museum. We typically go to the Israel Museum to see the scale model of Jerusalem in the 1st century, which is a fascinating experience. We also go through what's called the Shrine of the Book, which is a Dead Sea Scroll Museum, and then we typically leave. But I'm going to contact my guide this week to see if we can take some time to go into the Israel Museum. There are just crazy artifacts that have been found there with lots of biblical names on inscriptions. You read about King Uzziah in the book of Isaiah, where in chapter 6, he says, in the year of King Uzziah's death, I saw the Lord. Well, excavators were doing some construction work. They found Uzziah's grave, and they found the marker with his name on it. So that's in the museum. And they found the name of Pontius Pilate up in Caesarea. That artifact is in the museum. They found the name of King David on a stone up in Dan, and that's in the museum. So there's many, many, many. There's other biblical persons whose names are there, and other kinds of things that it's just a fascinating experience. And I want you to be able to see that. So that whole point summary is that the itinerary is the plan, but the reality might be a little bit different based on the dynamic of what's happening in real time where we are. And if there's any kind of a security threat, we'll change the plans and adapt. I've had to do that before. And here's the thing. I think it's important to know. You really never hear about a tourist in trouble in Israel. You never really hear about a tourist who is killed or injured. If they are, and it's happened a couple of times, is because they've decided to go independently on their own to a place where tourists typically don't go. And that's where some trouble can be. We heard the thing about the buses and the bombs just yesterday in Israel. That's public transportation, and tourists don't take public transportation. Here's the part of the dynamic, and it's a little bit goofy. The Arabs and the Israelis, the last thing either one of them want is an injured or a killed tourist, because it'll kill tourism and their families are going to go hungry. Tourism is one of the major industries, not only for Israel, but also for the Arabs, because there's so many Arabs that work, and you'll meet a lot of Arabs or Palestinians, whatever term you want to use, working in harmony side by side, hand in hand with Israelis. 99.9% of them get along, and they want to work together, and they need to work together to survive. But if a tourist is injured or killed, both sides suffer greatly. So there is this courtesy, believe it or not. Recently on one of the trips, we got a phone call early in the morning. We were planning to go to Bethlehem that day, and we were advised that there's going to be some unrest in Bethlehem at Manger Square at 11 o'clock. So if you want to get your tour groups in there, get them in early and then get them out before there's this protest. And the protest started a little bit early, but we got out of there in time. I saw it, but we were never really in harm's way because we could hear what was going on, and we got out of there right away. The chances of running into any kind of a problem are pretty much zero.
Dan,
Pretty
what,
zero.
was that incident in Bethlehem, was that the tour we were on in 2013? Because I remember that sounds familiar or similar to what we experienced with you in 13.
When we had the bus back down the alley for us and got
Yes.
us out the
Yes.
side door. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
Yeah, the guy took me around the corner and showed me what was going on in Manger Square, and we didn't.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
And
had to
we
get out of there.
as the tourists had no idea that it was going on.
Yeah.
No.
We wouldn't have known until Dan told us.
Yeah.
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 So
So it is on our itinerary to go to Bethlehem, and I'll just tell you straight up, that part of the tour has been it's been paid for by a family by the name of Nissan in Bethlehem. They have a restaurant, they have a gift shop, and they have drivers and they have guides. And we will be brought into Bethlehem. We'll get a new driver, we'll get a new guide, and we'll go to the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, and then we're going to go to their gift shop. And you're going to be pressured to buy there. You don't have to buy anything from anybody ever. I'm just going to tell you, it's good quality stuff, but it is expensive. You can get similar quality stuff that you're really not going to tell that much of a difference in the old city for maybe half, if not a fourth of the price you would pay in Bethlehem. Now, if you want to buy in Bethlehem, go for it. It's really kind of cool to say, I got this in Bethlehem, whatever it might be. So just to be aware that safety is priority one, and you're never pressured. You don't have to buy anything anywhere from anybody. Okay. Mark. Oh, you froze up, Mark.
Oh,
There you are. Are you back?
It was
Okay.
2016 with Western. Well,
Yes,
when I was there in 2016 with Western Seminary, we had a little bit of free time, at least in the old city, to go and range about wherever we want. I see that we have some free time in the morning. I think it's the 1st of April.
Yep.
Is that like all our free time, or will we have some other time just on our own to wander around?
Yeah, great question, Mark. You'll have time on your own. We get back to the hotel anywhere between 5 and 6, sometimes maybe 7 if it's been a long day. But we try to get back to the hotel about 5. From that point on, the rest of the day is yours. If you want to eat dinner at the hotel, you can because it's been paid for. If you want to if you want to hang back in the old city and have dinner there, and if you want to shop there or go see other things, you can do that. And you can walk back to the hotel or get a taxi back to the hotel. Anywhere we go is going to be safe. All the hotels, all the places we're going to visit, and the connecting points in between. If it was not safe, we wouldn't take you. And so if you want to do that, Mark or anybody else, if like we tour the old city on one day and you just want to hang out, grab a dinner, stay a little bit later, whatever might want to do, you can do that. And then we'll see you at the bus a little bit after 8 o'clock with chocolate.
Okay.
Is that how that works?
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a restaurant that the Golden Panorama that looks at the steeple of the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. Great view down on the Temple Mount. Great falafel and ice cold
Yep.
Coke. It's
I'm going to
good.
try to get Ralph to take us as a group there. That's one of my favorite
Yes.
restaurants.
Yeah,
you
Golden
been to-
Panorama.
Have you been to the City View restaurant? Do you recall that?
No,
Okay.
we only went to a handful, but
Yeah.
no, that one lodged firmly in
Oh,
my mind.
absolutely. It's an amazing place. We try to do at least one meal there. City View is on the other side. It's outside the city. It's on the northern end, Ammunition Hill on the northern end of the Mount of Olives. And it's got an incredible view of the city, hence the name, City View. A little bit more spendy for the food, but totally worth it. The food at that restaurant is outstanding. So
Dan,
it'll be a great experience.
just, do you know if they would have really good kanafa there?
Really good what?
Kanafa.
You're the king of kanafa.
I love kanafa if I can
The
find
Jewish
it,
dessert.
if I can find a really good kanafa.
Okay, well let Ralph know that, and for sure he'll get you to the best place to get it. So yeah, we'll get you. You will not be disappointed with the food. We can guarantee you that. Yeah. Good. Other questions? Let me just talk a little bit about spending money. There's gonna be water available on the bus. It's $1 a bottle. So bring some ones if you want to, or 5s or 10s. We were just having lunch with Matt and Kareen and his pastor and his pastor's wife. We talked about it might be good to have a couple of 20s or a couple of 10s on hand as well, US, because every now and then you'll find a vendor that's going to sell like maybe 4 scarves for $20. And you want to do a real quick transaction, and you don't want to be fumbling and fidgeting, negotiating with shekels and those kind of things. So bring some US and have that available. The people in Israel now prefer shekels. At least that's the way it was the last couple of times I was there. It might be changing, but you're always going to do well with shekels. I got online at my bank and I ordered my shekels and they took it from my checking account and the shekels appeared in my mailbox 2 days later. My bank just mailed them to me. So I'm going to encourage you, and if I could require you, I would do it. Get your shekels before we leave so that we don't have to take time from traveling to help you find a place where you can get some shekels. We want you to be able to get that taken care of as soon as you can. You can do that at the airport if you'd like to. You're going to pay a premium for that. You can go to a shopping mall, or you can go to your bank and order shekels. You don't need euros for the Vienna. Unless you want to, you can just use a debit card or a credit card to grab a meal or snacks or souvenirs in the airport there. So that's strictly up to you. I'm going to bring just like maybe $200 or $300 in shekels to cover. That's more than enough for lunch and some souvenirs. So plan on that. If you need more shekels, you can use your debit card or even your credit card to pull cash out of an ATM, and you'll need a 4-digit PIN code. That's all they'll take over there, and get some more shekels if you need to. Some of the shops will let you use a credit card or a debit card, but I wouldn't expect that to be the case for everybody. Vendors and shopkeepers used to let you barter or negotiate the price. That kind of stuff is going away. They're probably going to be pretty firm on the prices, but give it a try anyway. Try to bring them down 20-25% if you can. I used to cut it to half. They'd be offended, and then we'd settle at 40, which was good. So, work on that, and you'll have fun. Don't be afraid to ask. Is this your best price? How about if we add this to it? See what happens. See what happens. Have fun. What else? Anything else?
Oh, we better ask now. In Vernonia is a carnelian hotspot, and apparently carnelian stones are worth a lot in Israel. At least that's the word that we have heard. Rachel needs to find a rock shop, a
Yeah, are there?
lapidary.
I know they like a burger over there, and I've sent stuff over to friends. The Cornelius.
Okay, I'm not hearing you real well.
Speaker's not good.
There you go.
Do they have a place where you can, like a jewelry store or something, where they take stones, like trade stones? I know that's a thing. I just haven't been able to find anything online. Like, I don't see any jewelers online down there. It seems like they've got a shop and that's it.
Yeah, there are jewelers there. Some of them are rather high end. Some can be just, standard and basic stuff. So were you saying you're going to bring some stones that you want to trade or barter or something like that?
If I can, I was thinking about
Bring
it.
it. Bring it.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Do that. Do that. Absolutely.
Cool.
Good. Okay. Couple more things and we're going to wrap it up if you don't have any more questions. We will occasionally take group photos, and we'll do that with one camera. And because we don't want to hand the person that's taking the photo 6 or 7 or 8 cameras, we'll do it with one camera, mine on my phone, and then I'll get copies to all of you. That just saves a lot of time and it makes it pretty simple. On the bus, I'm not sure what size vehicle we're going to have. I doubt that they're going to give us a full-size bus because we only have 12 in our group. They might. I'm not sure. Our guide will be in the front seat opposite the driver, and I will be on the front seat immediately behind the driver. I need that front row seat so I can be talking with the guide all the time. So the rest of you just sort out where you want to sit on the bus, but I need to be up there in the front of the bus. I can't think of anything else. I think most everything else you need to know is on the notes. Between now and our departure time, if you have questions, send me an email, give me a call, send me a text message, and I'll do the best I can to try to answer questions for you. Any last ones before we take off here? All right. Well, I'm glad I finally got to meet some of you that I haven't known before, Ben and Jacob and George. I think everybody else I've met before. And I'm looking forward to meeting you in person, and the other 3. I know Chris, and I know Tim and Laura now too as well. So that'll be good to see them again. All right, let me just pray real quick, and I'm gonna kick you out of my office. All right. God, we thank you for the opportunity to travel. Thank you for each one who has taken time on this Sunday afternoon, evening to be with us. Help us to be well prepared and focused and ready to go. We're looking forward to a great opportunity. We realize that this is a manifestation of your goodness to us, and you've given us this opportunity to travel, and we're grateful people. So help us to get the most out of it. I pray that you keep us healthy and strong up until and during and beyond our travels so that we can maximize our time. Pray for good flight connections, safe travels, no delayed, no cancellations. Pray for decent weather so that we can get the most of out of our time while we're in the land. Thank you for Ralph and Saher, our guide and our driver. Keep them healthy and strong, protect them and their families over there in the land of Israel. And we give you thanks for all this in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, everybody, thanks. It's great to see you. I'll see you in about a month in Netanya. Okay?
Sounds good.
Thank you, Dan.
Yeah, you're
Thank
certainly
you.
welcome. Great to see y'all. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.